Welcome back. I'm joined with Michael Bonasinghe, one of the entrepreneurs. We are honored to have you here with us today on the show. Welcome, Michael. Before I intro you, because I know you from Expert Group, but a lot of people know you from something else as well. So if you give us a little bit of intro about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, sure. I'm the Chief Exec of Glover Daniels International, which is a human capital consultancy based here in Sri Lanka. Been here nearly 7 years. But you're right, I think more people know me now through the Expats Furniture Service, the Facebook group that we started to raise money for charity, which seems to grow massively day by day. Now about 34,500 members, and we're giving about 500,000 rupees a month to 25 small charities.
Right.
So we've created an online community, which is fantastic without any political or religious influence whatsoever.
Right.
And it's taken this community now the next stage for the startup community.
Right. That's great. And I heard like this Expert Group is a lot of people. You said it's a furniture group, but it's not actually selling furniture, right?
Not anymore. It started as that. It started that I was selling some furniture for some foreigner friends who said sell it and give the money to charity, which is what we did.
Yeah.
And then more and more people wanted to sell their furniture on our page, and we got to 50, and then 100, and it started to get a bit crazy. Now about 200 people a day join the group.
Right. That's great. So what makes you? A lot of people want to start a business, but you started a charity. I mean, of course you have a business, but normally people try to make it a business, right?
Yeah, we're quite conscious that we're not, but we run it along business disciplines.
Right.
So we make sure that everything is very transparent and above board. We're not a charity, but we collect money and give to charity for it. So we have 10 volunteer admins in the group, and they act as trustees and supervisors to make sure that every penny we raise goes to the charities.
That's great. I mean, this is what we have to do, right? Give back to the community. And before anyone asks, Michael is a Sri Lankan, right?
I am. I'm a British Sri Lankan. Both my parents are Sri Lankan.
Yeah.
But I'm a Britisher with a suntan and a Sri Lankan name, as my colleagues tell me.
That's great. So, let's talk about this entrepreneur hub. What a startup is. A lot of people. The hype is nowadays. It's a startup, right? A lot of people talk about startups, but for a startup to grow, you need support. So this is the reason you started the Entrepreneur Hub, is it?
It was. It really started quite recently in July. I've always been passionate about businesses and startups and give a lot of time to act as mentors for a few people here with their businesses. It was something that occurred to me when I went to the Disrupt Asia conference in July that the government agency ICTA ran, an excellent conference, very well run. And there was roomfuls of entrepreneurs there that were all pretty much saying the same thing. Technical businesses, great ideas, great startups. But once you get past that stage of working from home or your back bedroom or working in a coffee shop and you want to grow the business, the access to that low-cost accommodation at quite affordable rents without signing a 3-year lease, putting a year's rent down as a deposit was prohibitive on companies growing. And that really was a problem. And I heard it many times that day, and I had a meeting with a few of the government agencies, and they said, yep, we're going to do something about it, maybe next year, maybe the year after. And I just felt that something needed to be done now. There's a lot happening. A lot of the world's stalled in recession. It's a good time for Sri Lankan businesses to come out and do something. So, as always with my big mouth, I decided to put my own money where my big mouth is and start a network of co-worker centers.
So I think before we started, I raised a question asking, I can work from home, I can use my computer there. Why would I go to a co-working center?
Absolutely. It's not, I always tell people the desk and the chair that they get for their membership fee is actually almost a bonus. It's been part of the community, like the Expat is a community where everyone helps and supports each other. So in a co-worker center, you've got people that are not all startups, some experienced business people there, maybe on the second, third business. And they can get the support, whether it's marketing, whether it's finance, whether it's legal advice, or just someone to talk to who understands business. And I've had this thing many times. The 4 people generally ask about business advice are their family and friends who say one of 2 things. No, son, go and get a real job. Don't be so silly. Or yes, everything you're doing is wonderful, when it might not be, and your friends won't tell you the truth. Or they go and ask an accountant, a bank manager, or a lawyer for advice, none of which have generally run their own business. They normally work for other people. So I think the best part of being in a co-worker centre is you're in a community of business people. You don't get that in a coffee shop. You certainly don't get that working from home. I've done both in my career.
Yeah.
It's very lonely working from home when you get a great success and you turn to the dog and you say yes. The dog doesn't really care. And when you're having a really bad day, there's no one to pick you up and move on. When you're in a community of entrepreneurs, small business people, it's an extremely invigorating place to be. And that's where the buzz comes from, working in that environment.
So that's great. I mean, for example, if I have a business idea, if I want to get it going, I mean, I can stay home and do it. But people have different set of skills. So you need, if you have to start a business, you need to be good at marketing, you need to be good at managing people, you need to be good at, doing, I mean, if it's a software company, you have to be good at technical stuff. So you can always, rent out a room as well. I mean, come on, you pay something, you rent out a room. But like Michael suggested, so with the entrepreneur hub or a incubator center or a co-worker space, you get more than that. You get mentorship.
Yeah.
If you're looking for funding, they'll help you out to actually raise funding. And if you're not good at, pitching, if you're a startup, if you want to get funding, you have to pitch for it. So if you're not good at doing a presentation, I mean, if you are making any mistakes, if you need to learn a set of skills, even if you are looking for a partner, that's a great way to do it, I guess.
Absolutely. And it's been part of that community where you can get all of the above. And we've got people that are willing to act as mentors, that are great experienced business people, and some have failed. And I failed in business before, and that's where you learn, and you learn the lesson why you failed. Talking to experienced business people or other entrepreneurs that have that skills, and you can actually do business within each of them. We're developing an app that will connect all of the hubs together. So it'll form a platform for small businesses to actually interact with each other and do business with each other all around the country, whether they're in Jaffna, want to do business with somebody in Gaul or Colombo, and they don't even know of their existence at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's really adding to that ecosystem. I'm passionate about Sri Lanka and the startup community here. I'm really excited that I would love to see a real global winning product or service come out of Sri Lanka, and I don't accept that it can't come out of Sri Lanka. Why not? Why can't the next Uber or Airbnb be a Sri Lankan company run by a Sri Lankan? And if we can do in our little bit to create this entrepreneur community and this, the co-workers, it's got to be a tick in the right box, I think.
That's great. So if you're looking for starting up a startup, if you're looking for a space, if you don't have any room at your place, if you have two friends, can anyone who doesn't even have a startup join the incubator center? Or
they can. We have some people that are just studying for their MBA or studying for the degree. They want to come and just hot desk with us for 4 hours with free Wi-Fi. It's actually cheaper than 2 cups of coffee in some coffee shops.
Right.
And people just like being in that business community instead of just hanging out in a coffee shop.
That's great. Thank you so much for joining us, Michael, today.
My
I think
pleasure.
you have enlightened a lot of people. I think a lot of people didn't understand what a entrepreneur hub is, what a startup is. I think if you're looking for funding, and I think next week we'll talk more about how to start a startup and if you're planning to have one. So let's take a small break and see you after the break.